Hey there. Thanks for tuning in. You ready for another episode of My Bigfoot Sighting? Alright then, let's do this.
Seen a bunch of rundown no-horse towns where the church is the backbone, love's in the plow, and the five-string melodies grooving, with the farmland rows where the roots run deep, beyond the noise of the busy streets, where the songs of the South are soothing. When I hear the front porch picking down, home rhythm ringing out, I don't run from banjo music. Yeah.
If you'd like to be able to listen to the show without ads and have full access to bonus content, that's an option. To find out how, please go to mybigfootsighting.com.
Hey y'all, it's Kenny Busby here, and my Bigfoot experiences have all happened here in the Ozarks of Arkansas. I was on last week, if y'all remember, or some of you might remember, or a lot of you might. I don't know, but I do appreciate, I really do, all the kind comments and that y'all give me. I mean, there was quite a few comments, and you know what? I've been one of the most ridiculed guy that there ever has been, to be honest with you. So to get that many nice comments and supportive comments, that's just really cool to me. And I do appreciate that. I really do. So I'm back again. Sorry it couldn't have been sooner. I was supposed to come on the last couple of days. Life happens, though. I didn't get the chance to do it, but we got it worked out for today. So I hope y'all enjoy what I tell you today. Like I told you last week. Now I am a rambler. I sometimes I'll be talking about an experience. It'll remind me of an experience I even forgot about. That's how many experiences I've had. And so I might want to talk about that one, but I'll always come back, to the other one that I started off on. I promise you that. So anyway, if y'all can get through that, I just kind of go off the top of my head. I don't write stuff down usually. I didn't last week. I go off the top of my head. That's just the way I am. But anyway, I just wanted to go over a couple of the comments, last week. Now, there's a couple of people that didn't quite understand when I told y'all that Sissy and Archie gifted me this little whatnot, is what I called it. It's a little blue-eyed dog. I guess it's ceramic is what it is. It's about, I guess about an inch, maybe an inch and a half tall. I mean, something like that. But I carried the little guy everywhere I went, and I told y'all about losing it. So I just wanted to clarify that. It's when I said, took him around everywhere I went, it wasn't a real puppy or anything like that. He fit right in my pocket, which is really cool. And hopefully I'll find him again pretty soon. I really hope so. I've looked about everywhere I could look, though, to be honest with you. But anyway, I wanted to go over that real quick. I had one guy say, I'd love to come to your place, please. Well, that would be all fine and dandy, but I usually don't invite people out to gifting spots anyway. More than welcome to come to the house. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that too much, but let me tell you about me taking the only people we've ever taken, me and my ex-wife, has taken to the other family's gifting spot, not where I live now. If you remember, I'm staying with my brother now, but was our daughter Mariah. But there was one other guy. He's one of my good friends, and I didn't even tell him nothing about Bigfoot. That wasn't our kind of friendship, I mean, we sipped on beers together, but we had, me and the wife had set out I think a loaf of bread and some donuts that day. I can't remember. There's all sorts of things that we used to gift them. Peanut butter, but it had been 2 or 3 days since we'd been out to the spot. So I was like, well, without telling him about where I was going, I said, how about let's just go sit by the creek, and I was going to sneak over there. I was going to sneak over there and just check on, what we had left them. Well, I guess we got up we were just walking down through there. We were about, 30 yards from the bank, from the gifting spot or so. Maybe a little closer than that, probably 20 yards. And, oh no, this wasn't working. They did not like this guy at all. Zilch, zero. And against my better judgment, we walked a little bit further to the creek, to the spot, and we were getting pretty close. And I was like, this ain't working. I told my friend, I was like, we got to go. Because the family was telling me, this is a no-go. This ain't happening. And I was like, of course, I'm listening. I said, man, we've got to turn around. He goes, but we just got here. I'm like, he goes, why have we got to go? I said, trust me. We just got to leave. That's it. And then he asked me why one more time. And I said, man, just trust me. We cannot be here right now. It just ain't going to happen. It just trust in what I say is all I said. He just shrugged his shoulders and said, okay. So we started walk back, but so that kind of, but anyway, not the gifting spot. I had this one guy, as a matter of fact, he wanted to call me, and I've always offered people to call me when I post experiences, on the internet and stuff, and different sites, and Bigfoot sites, obviously, and he called me up. I can't remember his name. Even if I could, I wouldn't say it, but he was from Oregon or Washington or something like that. And he had been reading about some of the experiences, and got really intrigued and impressed by them, I guess. And he had a TV crew. And I was like, he called me up. Now, not even asking me or anything. He was just an assumer. He was like, well, here's what I talked to him for a little bit. And he goes, well, I'll tell you what, Kenny, here's what we're going to do. I'm like, what are we going to do? What do you mean? What are we going to do? I didn't, I'm like, And he goes, what I'm going to do is come down and we're going to spend a couple of days there with my camera crew. We're going to do interviews with you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, no. You got me all wrong, brother. I'm sorry. This ain't happening. There is no way I would put my family out there like that. Absolutely not. Never, ever would I ever do that. Always in protection mode. It's trust and respect with them. Remember I said that last week. That's the two things you've got to have is trust and respect from that family. If you don't have those two things, and if you don't earn that, you ain't getting nowhere with a Bigfoot family. And that's just a fact of life. The only thing that you might get is run off by one. If you don't trust and respect their home, they might do that. But that'd be about as lucky as you get. But good luck with that. But anyway, that's what I meant by that. They don't like, I don't know, they don't even allow animals in the gifting spot, other animals at all. I could go there. My wife could go there. The daughter could go there. But nobody else could go there, But anyway, so covered that. One guy said, now, of course, I done told you, and you can tell as I'm doing right now, He said at first, but he was still nice. He's like, the jumping all over the place, which I regularly do because of the reasons I've told you. I just, that's just the way I am. I ramble, things come off the top of my head, so I want to talk about them. I like to make points here and there, which I think people can learn from, and sometimes they come to my mind and I relearn, if that makes any sense, but anyway, and then, the trail cams. I don't do trail cams, never have. I don't dislike people that do by any means. I've got many friends, they go out researching, and that doesn't bother me a bit. If they want to do trail cams, I just ain't support of them. I just think that's just not me. Like I said last week, we don't even take very many photos with our phones, very few audios even. Have we gotten pictures of them? Yeah, a few, some pretty good ones, and some really good audio, as I told you. I've posted that on the internet before, and but no to the trail cams for me. That's just not trust, and that's not respect. That's what I just talked about. That's not trust. That's not respect. That's almost, you're hiding a trail cam. As a matter of fact, when we do the few photos that we do take or audios, we always tell them up front that we're going to do it, or we'll ask them if we can do that. That's trust and that's respect. Not trying to hide a hidden trail camera at the gifting spot. I don't think that would work too well. Like I said, I just enjoy being around them. That's all I do this for. That's it. Is my enjoyment, the trust and respect thing, and you get to learn about them and they get to learn about you. And that's what it's all about, is a communication thing, So there goes that. Let's see. Now I'm going to tell you. Oh, guns. Now I've seen. Now I don't think that was asked here last week, but I've never carried a firearm doing this in my whole life. That's just not the way I do it. I'm not saying anything against it, because there's other animals in the forest, as you know, especially the forest like the Ozarks and stuff. I mean, if you wanted to carry one, that's fine. I mean, as long as you went out there with the right intentions. That's what I'm trying to say about firearms, when you carry a firearm or something. And I've known deer hunters, of course, obviously they're going to have a firearm, and they'll show them to them because they got the right mindset. They got the right, they've got the right attitude about them. They're not out there to hurt them or their family, So on the firearm thing, that's up to you. As long as you got the right intentions when you go out there, I think you'd be fine, on that part. That's just my opinion on that. I just choose not to do it. I've got many friends that do. I got a lot of deer hunters that are my friends. Obviously, they take firearms, going deer hunting or squirrel hunting or whatever, But so that's just my take on the firearms anyway. So I'm going to start to get down into some experiences. And, I did want to add one thing from last week. Now, if I told you about Junior, he's the jokester that's always messing with me. And I've got him I'm probably going to, I can't go a podcast without mentioning Junior. That's just a fact. There's been so many experiences with him. So one's always going to come off the top of my head. But Sissy is pregnant again. Remember me telling you, Junior and Sissy is Archie's daddy, which Archie will be 3 years old October the 1st. Now, here's the weird thing about that. We know she's pregnant again. And when I posted about this here a while back, and by the way, I think she should have, well, let me tell you this first. because she told us this is kind of weird. And I don't know why. I don't know how they do it. But she already told us it's going to be a male. Yeah. And a lot of people, I got some ridicule over that. Not bad, but she'd already told me it's going to be a male. So, me and the ex-wife, we asked Sissy what her name or his name was going to be, and she didn't ever say anything. So I talked with her, and this was after we split up, by the way. And so I messaged her, and we just decided to call him LJ, Little Junior, in other words. Might as well. We both agreed on that, but he'll be taken care of when he's born later this year. He should be a little bit later than Archie was born, probably later October, I would guess. But guessing and guesstimating are some bad things sometimes, because Manteeble, when she had Mary Jane, we thought that she wouldn't have Mary Jane until, in the fall or late summer, early fall, somewhere right around in there. And she ended up having her June the 9th. So that's what I get for thinking. So you see how that goes. You could always expect the unexpected from a Bigfoot family. And that's just a fact of life. All right. So now I'm going to get into I think I'm going to cover a little bit of Jeju first. This is, of course, from my family where I live at now, with my brother down here on the farm where I grew up at, and Jeju's a really cool little guy. I met him here quite a while back, probably 6 months ago or so, and he's the most personal little guy I've ever met, Bigfoot wise. I mean, he's very, very personal, and I call him little guy, but I mean, from what I'm used to, like Junior, 12 to 13 foot tall, Trey, 13 foot tall, Daddy, 14 foot tall. You know what I'm saying? He's small comparatively anyway. He's a juvenile, obviously. And he's about almost 8 foot tall. He's darker, he's just very, very nice. Very, very personable. He loves to talk. And he loves to come by and see me all the time. He comes by and sees me. I got a little spot. I sit way out at the back of the fence, right by the forest back there, and he'll come up to me. He's got these 2 trees that he always stands in front of, and he always does, and same spot, all that good stuff. And they're about, one time he come about 10 foot from me, but usually it's about 15. They're about 15, 20 foot away, that close. Yeah. I mean, it's really cool. Really cool. And, but he comes by and visits about once, sometimes twice a week when I'm sitting out there. Yeah, I'm usually sipping on a beer. And of course, that ain't unusual for me, especially when I'm out there trying to interact with him, just kind of relaxing, But one day I was sitting back out there, and I heard some rustling. Now, of course, I've already met him, and I've already got to know him pretty well. But I heard there's always rustling. And you've heard me last week. That's, unless they're mad, that's what it usually sounds like in the leaves, But anyway, I already knew who it was pretty much, I've been surprised a few times. One time it was his brother. His brother is about 10 foot tall. He's a little older than Jeju is. Not near as personable, though. Not even close yet. Now, he might get that way. I don't know. But anyway, I pretty much knew who it was. And here he comes. And I said, "Hey, Jeju, what's going on?" But see, this day was different. It sounded like there was more than one. It wasn't just him. So I'm like, And I got to thinking, which I told you that's dangerous. And so here he comes, and I'm like, JG, what's going on, brother? He goes, I'm coming to see you. And I'm like, okay, well, I appreciate you coming to see me. I said, you like visiting me? He goes, oh, yeah, he loves visiting me. I like messing with him, though. And I said, and I got to looking back there, and he hadn't walked all the way up quite yet, though, to the trees. And I said, who's that? Is there somebody behind you? I seen what looked like a female behind him. I was like, all right. And he got to the trees, and where he usually stands at, you know. I'm like, JJ, who's that? Who'd you bring with you? I said, I see her back there. I said, is it a female? And he was like, yeah, it's. I'm like, and so I was like, well, why is she not coming up here with you? He was like, well, she's kind of shy around y'all. And she was smaller than Jeju, you know, she maybe 6 foot tall, a little over 6 foot, maybe. But anyway, and she's a little lighter colored than him too. But I didn't ask him. I asked him, I said, well, won't you tell her that it's okay to come up, that I'm all right, you know? And he looked back at her. She was probably standing from behind him, probably 25 feet or so. And I was like, and he goes, and he does the gibberish thing, which meant it's okay. And he gave her a little hand signal to come on over, you know? So I'm sitting there, or so it's, I don't know. So she's standing there. I mean, she's quiet as a mouse. I mean, other than the rustling walking the rest of the way over there, she didn't say a word. Not one word. None. Zilch. I'm like, what's her? And I asked her name. She wouldn't say nothing. I'm talking nothing. She wouldn't grunt. She wouldn't make a sound. And I asked Jeju, I said, what is her name? And he goes, the gibberish thing. And I'm like, huh? And I asked him again, and it was a gibberish thing again. And I was like, and it sounded like he said JC is what it sounded like. So I'm going to go with that. I said, is her name JC? And he was like, yeah, JC. I said, I'll go with that then, JC. And that's easy enough. I don't care if it's a real name or a nickname, you know. They don't mind nicknames. None of them do. As far as I know, none of them that I've met have anyway. But now I said, now I'm going to really mess his brain up. And I'm like, now, I said, JJ, I said, now I know for a fact. I said, yeah, now who else is with you? And he just looked at me kind of strange. I said, I know there's somebody else with you other than you and Jason. And of course, I thought JC was his girlfriend. That's who I really thought was his. I really thought it was his girlfriend. So I didn't even ask that time. And so I was like, who's with you? And he was like, he just looked at me strange. I said, now I know for a fact, being around the other family, that a female's not going to go anywhere with almost never without two males with protection of her. And he finally, I said, so who is it? And he goes, that's my brother. And for some reason, I didn't ask his brother's name that day. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't. I kicked myself in the butt for that. Cause of course, I can ask him anytime. So, but anyway, so I said, well, why won't your brother come a little closer? And he said, well, he doesn't like being around y'all a lot. He, you know, and I said, okay. I mean, I could see him barely. I mean, like I said, he's about 10 foot tall, and I've saw him once before on back a little ways, but he was a ways from me that day. He was about 50 yards, and this guy pushed a tree over right in front of me, and I was like, wow. And I had binoculars on me that day, so I started looking at throughout the binoculars, trying to get up close of him, his brother anyway. So, but anyway, and they just that was about it on that day. They just kind of turned around and walked on off. And it was, I guess, a couple of days later, and here comes the rustling through the woods again. And it's Jeju. And I'm like, hey, Jay, that's my greeting to him. Hey, Jeju, what's going on, brother? And he's like, I'll come to see you. I'm like, well, I appreciate that. I said, why do you come to see me all the time? He goes, I like you like that. And I was like, well, I appreciate that. I said, you like me so much that you scrape on the side of the house in the middle of the night? I said, is that why you scrape on the house in the middle of the night? Or throw pebbles at my window at night? I said, what do you want me to do? Wake up in the middle of the night and come out and talk to you? And I was like, because one time he looked in my window. I just looked, I was tired that night. I just looked over there. My blinds were open. I just looked over there and I was like, I just waved at him. I'm like, JG, I ain't got time. And I just turned back over and went to sleep. I mean, there ain't too many people that would just look over there lackadaisically and, see a Bigfoot in your window at night and not get a little bit perturbed about it. But not me. I don't care. But JJ's really, really cool. He always has been. And one day he did come back up and I asked him, I was already started this story, I guess. And there I go saying story. I don't like to call him that, this experience. But he come up and I'm like, and I was like, you know what? I'm really going to get nosy this time since he's so personable, and all that good stuff. And I said, first off, JJ, who was that? Because I never did ask him. I just assumed it was his girlfriend. So that was the first question I asked him. I said, who was that with you, the female that you brought with you the other day? And he goes, oh, that's my sister. And I'm like, oh, your sister. You got a pretty sister. I said, I thought that was your girlfriend. I said, I thought you done got lucky, did you? He just laughed at me. But anyway, so I was really going to be nosy. I'm like, who's the alpha? I guess he thought I asked who Alpha was, like a name. And he just looked at me, kind of tilted his head a little bit like that, like a, huh? Kind of look, Alpha? I'm like, JJ, who's your daddy? I said, and where is he at? He goes, and he points to his right, which would have been my left, and he points to his right and go, Slough. And I was like, Slough. I said, do you mean the creek over there? And he was like, yeah. And he said, I said, he goes, Jory. I said, is that your daddy's name? Jory? And he was like, yes. And I'm like, I said, does he stay by the creek? And he was like, most of the time is what he meant in his gibberish. Because sometimes he'll speak broken English and sometimes he'll speak the gibberish. And sometimes he'll just mind speak to you, or he does me anyway. So I get it all three ways with him. I get it all three ways with all of them, really. I got to see Jory but that's a whole nother experience. It's just totally different than that one right there. And I might come back to that one, or I might just go ahead and tell it now. I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to think. There was one. I'm gonna stay. I think I'm gonna save that one for another time. I might get to it here later in the hour here. Yeah, I think we got 25 minutes left or so. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go back to the trust and respect thing. And here's another junior experience. And as I've told y'all about the mind speaking and all that stuff. And one day, Archie, now you got to know Archie, he's Junior's son, obviously. So he's going to have the same attitude. And man, Archie is a tree climbing little sucker. I mean, he can climb a tree faster than I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he can get up a tree and he can get down a tree. And matter of fact, he loves trees so much, I think he lives in one most of the time. Now, there's another thing that I've noticed, though. All of them can climb trees, obviously. But the older they get, the less they climb trees. When they're all of the little ones that we've got to know, you know, all of the little ones have loved to climb trees, all of them. But, you know, little one and JJ, all of them did, you know. And, of course, Mary Jane's doing her tree climbing now. But Archie absolutely loves trees. And one day, he was mind speaking to me that day. And I could just see him. He was like, "Oh no." He goes, "I'm up in a tree and Daddy, Junior, you know, Daddy's down there trying to get me out of the tree." I was just like, oh, yeah. I thought I was being smart. That's what I get for thinking. As I told you, that gets me in trouble, as you're fixing to find out. Yeah, this is probably the most scared I've ever been. Well, it is. I'm just going to put it to you that way. By far, the most scared I've ever been in an experience. And you're fixing to find out why. So, and I was like, this is a perfect time to get back at Junior. He always gets me. Always. I've never gotten him. Hardly. Not once. You know, he always wins, you know. So I'm like, I said, I got to laughing. I'm like, you know, Archie, I said, I could just picture Junior down there looking up frustrated at Archie because Archie's a little pest, man. I mean, I do not envy Sissy and Junior having to try to take care of him. I was like, you know, Archie, you know, you could jump from tree to tree, you know. He started jumping from tree to tree, and I was laughing just like I am right now. Well, that laughing didn't last too long. Oh, boy. Well, here's come the trust and respect. Oh, boy. So Archie's having fun jumping from tree to tree. Well, Junior wasn't having any of that. I was like, oh my gosh. And I just realized what I did. Trust and respect. That's what I've always preached to people. Always. And what did I do? I messed up. And I told Archie to I encouraged Archie to misbehave in their structured family. Oh, that ain't good. No, that wasn't good at all. And I was like, uh-oh. And Junior told me, he goes, you come see me in the morning And he meant at the gifting spot. I knew exactly where he meant at. He goes, "You come see me." And he was not asking me to come see him. He was, I was going to go see him. If I had any chance to get that respect back, I had to go see him. Now, if I wouldn't have went to see him, he would have came and seen me. I promise you. And I knew that. So the first thing the next morning, guess where I was? And I was shaking the whole way there. I ain't kidding you. That's the scaredest I've ever been. Yeah. Oh boy. I was like, oh my gosh, oh man. I didn't know what he was going to do to me. I didn't know if he was going to throw me in the creek and just leave me there to drown, or I don't know. I didn't know what he was going to do. I just disrespected his family. And I'm like, golly. Oh boy. So I'm slowly walking up to the gifting spot, slowly as I could. And I'm literally shaking, for real. And there, you guess who was there? He was there. And I'm like, oh boy, this ain't good. So here I am looking, well, not eye to eye, up to him. I'm 5'9", he's 12 foot tall, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Junior. And I was profusely apologizing, not just to him, but to Sissy and the whole family. I had to apologize. And guess who he brought around? He brought pretty much the whole family that day. Pretty much the whole family. And I knew they were there. And this was just one of those things. And man, it was scary. I apologized profusely, and they accepted my apology. So that was really cool. And the whole family accepted me back. But if I hadn't went there out of respect, knowing I'd done wrong, I probably would have been kicked out. I'm just being honest with you. And that's just a fact of life, But anyway, that was a scary one, y'all. That was a scary one. Oh boy, that was a scary one. Oh, see, I'm sweating just thinking back on it again. But I really am. Oh man. So I think about time for maybe I could one off the top of my head for a kind of a short one, Yeah, here's a good one. Now this ain't really a sighting. This is but it's really cool. So, and it won't take me about 5-6 minutes to tell it. But me and the wife get down to check on her gifting spot one day. Now, I told you last week that we don't name them all. That there's certain ones that I do name the experiences, And this one I called the knockathon. Yes, they knock at you in the woods too. I don't even think I covered that last week. But they like to knock, communicate with each other, and sometimes they knock to communicate with you, if they know you pretty well. So really cool thing. But we get down there one day and we check on the spot, and I've told you before that a lot of times that most of the time we'll have vocalizations and stuff like that, but not always. I mean, like I said, you can expect the unexpected with them, And anyway, so we get down there and we're just sitting there. There's nothing going on. We're just BSing and, of course, sipping on a couple beers or whatever, and just having fun. Anyway, it was getting about dusky dark. We had some errands we had to go run at the time. So we were fixing I said, there is nothing going on. I mean, I said, let's just go, baby. And she's like, okay. I mean, we had to go to, I don't know where we had to go, the beer store or grocery store or something like that. But we turned to leave, we heard this really loud knock. And I was like, yeah, that's one knock all day. We hadn't heard a vocalization all day, and we stayed out there for quite a while that time. It was a beautiful day though, so we didn't care. Perfect weather, really. I mean, sun shining, 75 degrees, so great day to be at the creek, no matter what happened. But so anyway, we had heard one knock, and I was like, well, that's only one knock. Let's go. We got to go do this. Well, and then there was another one from an opposite direction. And I was like, I said, and there was another one. I was like, okay. Well, this could get interesting. And then they just picked up from there. I mean, there was slow knocks, fast knocks, and everything in between. I mean, there was loud knocks, soft knocks. There was close knocks, like really close to us. And then far away knocks, like, I don't know how, I mean, it's hard to estimate a distance in the woods, but there were some that's probably 25 yards from us at least, but they surrounded us with knocks, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, oh my gosh, it was unbelievable. I know that's not a sighting, but man, to have that happen to you, that's a very unique experience, to say the least, and it's probably one I'll never get to experience ever again. I mean, it was that unique. I know most people like the visualizations and the sightings and everything, but there's a lot of other cool stuff, too, that happens to you out there, and so I like to add that as well, those kind of things, and, nitbits and stuff like that, and tidbits and stuff like that. But anyway, I think we're about to run out of time here. I've got another experience, but I think I'm just going to leave it at that one for now, because that one would probably take 15-20 minutes to tell you about. So, but anyway, that was a pretty good episode, I think. I hope y'all enjoy it. And here's what I always like to say. This is one of my sayings that I always end my post with, usually on the internet, but you don't find, and this is true, you don't find Bigfoot, Bigfoot finds you. Appreciate y'all listening. I'll come back another time if y'all like. Please comment in the below. And y'all have a great day, and ask questions, because next time I come on, I'll answer them. I'll pick some out and answer them for y'all, okay? Y'all have a great day.
Well, that's it for tonight's show. If you've had a Bigfoot sighting and would like to be a guest, please go to mybigfootsighting.com and let us know. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.
Seen a bunch of rundown, no-horse towns where the church is the backbone, loves and the plow, and the five-string melodies grooving, with the farmland rows where the roots run deep, beyond the noise of the busy streets, where the songs of the South are soothing. When I hear the front porch picking down, home rhythm ringing out, I don't run from banjo music. Yeah, the sound of a memory brings me back to the bluegrass playing on my dad's 8-track. It's become man had been through it, getting through the day on Scruggs and Skags, booking hay bales to those Tennessee jams. There's no other way that I do it. When I hear the front porch picking down, home rhythm ringing out, I don't run from banjo music. Yeah. Some may call it backwards and double time. banjo's booming. When I hear the front porch picking down home rhythm ringing out, I don't run from banjo music. Yeah. Something going backwards and double time. Getting in the soul and the tremolo Kentucky style. Those are the anthems drumming out, country boy living. When I hear the front porch picking down home rhythm ringing out, I don't run from banjo music. Something going backwards and double time. Getting in the soul and the tremolo Kentucky style. Those are the anthems drumming out, country boy living. When I hear the front porch picking down home rhythm, fried chicken, porch swing, mama's best sweet tea kind of sound.